Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is Andy in Singapore. If you haven't done so, I'd like to remind you to like and subscribe to my channel because I've got new videos uploaded every week just for you. In today's video, we are going to take a very quick look at the Seiko Alpinist here. Reference number for this watch is SBDC 087 and this comes under the latest generation of Alpinist which was launched in early 2020. So the new series of Seiko Alpinist watches, they were launched sometime in early 2020 and they essentially replaced the outgoing discontinued series of the SARB 017 series of Alpinist, and those watches, especially the green one, SARB 017, that was considered a legendary Seiko model. So at the time of the discontinuation, sometime in 2018, the fans out there, they were very unhappy. They went to sign lots of petitions. They sort of camped outside Seiko's office. Okay, I was making that up actually. So you get the idea, right? They were very unhappy, and as a result, Seiko actually relaunched this new series of Alpinist, and we're gonna take a look at some of the changes that they have made to the new watches. So there are three main differences or changes that Seiko has made. Of course, the first change will be this is actually a bigger watch than the SRAB 017. That one came in at about 38.5 millimeters, and this SBDC 087 comes in at around 39.3 millimeters, so a slightly bigger watch case. And the second change that Seiko has made will be the case back. So the latest generation of Alpinist, they now have a display case back which allows you to see the movement, and this is different from the discontinued model SARB 17. That one had a stainless steel case back. And thirdly, the new generation of Alpinist models, they have the newer movement 6R35 as opposed to the 6R15, which is a standard in all the mid to high range Seiko models out there. So this being a newer release in 2020, obviously Seiko has included the latest movement, which has a longer power reserve of 70 hours. I think the rest of the movement is exactly the same. I think in terms of accuracy, in terms of bit rate and all that, it is largely the same. It is also interesting to note that the new Alpinist, they are only JDM, alright? So you can't exactly find this in international markets. But no worries, because we've got dealers like Nomon, and of course our boutique where this watch is loaned from. Alright, I really gotta thank Eric and his team for kindly loaning me all these watches for my review. So this is not a reimagination of the Alpinist, it's more or less a faithful remake of the SARB 17 series. So I've just zoomed in the lens a little bit as I share with you on the specifications of this new Alpinist here. It's got a case size of 39.3 millimeters. Total thickness of the watch is 12.9 millimeters, so I would say it's about 1 millimeter thicker than the outgoing model, the SRAB 17. It's got a lug width of 20 millimeters, and this is very standard. I think fans out there will recognize this as a strap monster, alright, because it looks really good here on the stock bracelet, which is a sort of an oysterish style of bracelet, and this would look good on a leather strap. I think even NATO or canvas straps, it will still look good because it has that field watch or explorer, adventurer type of look to it. L to L measurement here is very good. It comes in at 46.3 millimeters, and again, this watch will fit different types of wrist sizes, big wrist, smaller wrist. I think not a problem at all. And it's got a really nice crown here that comes in at 6.4 millimeters. Very grippy. I really love the crown action and the overall hand winding experience over here. And lastly, we've got a dial size of 31.8 millimeters here. So again, due to the compass bezel on the chapter ring itself, I think this one here has got a slightly bigger crystal size. The SBDC 087 is available at our boutique for Singapore dollars 788. I'm pretty sure you get a good discount if you speak to Mr. Eric. Alright, so have a good chat with him, maybe you'll get a slightly better price. And let's move on and talk a bit about the design and build quality of the Seiko Alpinist 2020 version. So this watch here, as with many Seiko presage or Pro Specs release out there, it has a very good mix of polish and brush finishing, and I particularly like this curve here to the mid case. As you can see here, there's a really nice curve to the mid case, not just in terms of sharp downturn at the lux. This is really a nice curve, and I believe this is to negate this protruding case back over here. So the case back does protrude quite a bit, largely due to the display case back, but by so cleverly having a curve here at the mid case, I think they've sort of made the wearing experience so much better. So we've got really nice brushing from the stainless steel bracelet to the top of the lux here, and we've got a full polished case side as well as a fixed bezel. The bezel here is fully polished. It does feel like it's a little bit tall, as you can see from the side profile. So I'm not too sure if this will withstand daily wearing, because for polished bezels and polished bezel that is so tall, you're bound to get a bit of hairline scratches or even dings and knocks if this was a daily wearer. We've also got a really nice male clasp here. Alright, so the buckle itself could be stamped. This reminds me of the Saab 33 buckle or clasp that I review, but the scissor here is full solid. Alright, it is milled, not stamped, and the bracelet itself is full solid with solid end links. I would say the most characteristic feature of the Alpinist model would be the 4 o'clock crown here, which operates the compass bezel, and the action here is really nice, but there's no locking mechanism at all. So I think again, if you were to wear this as a daily wearer, every now and then you might, knock upon the crown or set the compass bezel accidentally. And to be very honest with you, I don't know how to operate or how to use this compass bezel. So if you know how to use this one, if you're an expert, please comment in the section below, because I think it will be very helpful for the other viewers. And now I'm going to move on and talk to you a bit on the dial design of the Alpinist. So this one here has the matte black sand textured dial here. It is not shiny, but it's got a really nice texture to it. Alright, so I think it fits the design of the watch very well, because this being an explorer type of watch, you don't want something that is overly bling bling. So I think all those fancy dials with MOP and sunburst and all that may not work so well. So over here we've got a really nice matte black dial. And again, staying faithful to the overall Alpinist look, we've got the cathedral hands coming back as opposed to the baby Alpinist. So I'm pretty sure fans out there would agree with me. This style of hand, it is what defines the Alpinist, and good job by Seiko for coming back with this style of hands. And for this generation of Seiko Alpinist model, Seiko has replaced the Arabic numerals 246 etc with shark tooth markers here. So these markers, they look like they're applied, but they don't have any sort of lume applied to them. And it is also interesting to note that Seiko has continued to apply the Cyclops lens to the date wheel here. So I think again, this is to mimic a very famous R brand okay, which I'm not a fan of. Okay, I've never been a fan of Cyclops lens, but pretty sure again there are fans out there who appreciate such a design. And now let's check out the lume here on the Seiko Alpinist. As you can see, this one here is not exactly a lume monster, because it's got very little lume application going on. There are no lume application on the hour markers. We've only got very little bit of lume here applied to the compass bezel, the inner rotate bezel over here. But I do like the fact that the hands here are nicely segmented. The cathedral hands here look very special, something different from the usual Seiko diver hands out there. And overall, the lume brightness here is actually very good. And here's a wrist shot of the watch on my 17cm wrist. As you can see, it wears really well for a case size of about 39-40 millimeters. Not a problem at all, even you have smaller wrists. And despite the fact that the case back protrudes quite a bit, as you can see here, it sits rather tall on my wrist, but due to this curvature here at the mid case, the wearing experience is still very positive, and I think overall this watch here would fit a wide range of wrist sizes. So in summary, I would say the new generation of Alpinist models they're bound to be very popular among the Alpinist fans out there. But for me, I think this is probably a step backwards in terms of design, because there's really no need to add this Cyclops lens over here. It makes the dial very cluttered, and I really don't think there is anything aesthetically pleasing about the Cyclops. And I also disagree with how they've increased the thickness of the watch. So for a watch like the Alpinist, there is no need to have display case back. So there you have it. That was my really quick review of the Seiko Alpinist SPDC 087. This is the latest generation of Seiko Alpinist, and they are only JDM models. So don't worry about it, because these days we have the good old internet and online retail. You can definitely find this online. So this is Andy in Singapore, together with George and Pixie and a few of their friends over there. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.